Okay, I think we're good. Are we live? Yes. Hello. Here we go. Another live stream where it's a sketchbook session. And I made sure ahead of time I've linked, as it says below me, I have linked the reference image, which is above me, in the chat, not in the chat, in the description of the video. So if you want to grab the photo, have a good look at it and draw along, I'm going to be drawing it first and then doing a little sketchbook oil painting. So perhaps a little brave, but that's what we are going to try. And I really love this picture. It's kind of weird and dark and goofy and just strange, and I love the lighting and I love the composition and all the things. So I thought it would make a terrific option for today. So that is the one we are going with. And I am zooming on the picture on the screen in front of me so that I can see it a little bit better for recreating. Samantha, hello. Hello. Glad to see you here. So, this picture also makes me think of Donnie Darko, the movie, guy with a bunny suit. I mean, you can't see the bunny's face, but yeah, that's the first thing I think of. Well, not the first thing. It was what I thought of after deciding I really liked the photo and downloading it. But yeah, good stuff. So hopefully that'll be fun. I have my matcha tea for the evening. In this color mug, it looks kind of muddy and grotesque almost, but you know, still tastes pretty good. I think it's old. I think my matcha tea I've had for a very long time and I never used it, and then suddenly I started using it, so it's probably not as beautiful as it might be otherwise, but it's what we're working with. So little tea and a little oil paint after we get my picture on here. Okay, so make sure I'm relatively centered and kind of I'm glad. I'm kind of going to work with like visual measurements in drawing this. Like if anybody's curious about getting going with some drawing things, I can tell the horizon line starts just above like the halfway point on the left side, and it goes down a little bit, not a lot, kind of straightens out here, comes out just below the halfway point on the other side. So the most basic thing is the horizon line. I looked really closely at this picture. It above me, motion in the correct direction. The blacks are really kind of squashed down, so they're not really dark. But what happens when they do that is that a lot of the darks kind of become a single color. And I really definitely not that much made in heaven. But it does the trick. What we're not seeing, what is just that big blackish kind of background section, like what's here, appears to be maybe a fence, like some kind of a brick wall, half wall. So I'm gonna kind of just imply it. I'm not that worried about it being exact because we're gonna kind of follow the lighting in the picture, so I don't need to make up a lot of detail that isn't there. And where we see it turn up, it's like there's a corner in there somewhere. So I'll just sort of pretend that's about it. More or less. And then marking my bunny guy. He's really way over, like in a way that's Ariset, hello. hello. He's so far over. He's not like on the third. If you were divided it in thirds for like rules of thirds, he's not on the third. He's like smack dab in the middle of the last third. So maybe I will move him into to be more like on the third. It creates a lot of tension the way that it is, but yeah, something in there. Start placing him in approximately. And for drawing anything, if anybody struggles with it, the best thing to start with, I think, is to like kind of break it down into some basic shapes and then build up the shapes once you have once you're kind of happy with their positioning and sizes. So I know my lines are very light so far because I'm kind of just blocking things approximately in. So try to get a darker line down here. Yeah, I think I just decided I want to do oil paint for this one just because like I'm just looking for an excuse to play with oils a little bit more. I don't really have much experience with them, and I've enjoyed messing around with them. But yeah, I need to be doing more stuff with them to get more comfortable. So why not do a little sketchbook project with some oil paints? I like to make things hard on myself. Also. Oh, oil's your favorite. I love that. I'm learning. Hope to get there. So this is not going to be a perfect drawing by any means. I kind of made his head a little too big, but I kind of like that because that's sort of the mascot thing, right? Ridiculously big heads. Well, I hope everyone, yeah, I hope you guys are good. I'm doing pretty good. It's gonna be like a crazy hot week here, where we're gonna be around 100 degrees on Wednesday and I think Thursday, with heat indexes that are crazy high. So, I believe that if you are watching internationally, that is something around 100 degrees is somewhere about, what, 37? 101 degrees is like 37 Celsius or something like that. But then the heat index is going to be a lot higher than that. So, hot. Good days to stay indoors and try not to lose your will to do anything. Anybody working on any good, fun projects these days, or now, or in general? What's anybody that's doing that's kind of cool? I tried to see what is in his hand. The hand that is like right there on the far right side of the screen. It almost looks like he's holding a remote control when I tried to zoom in and look at it. I'm not really sure, but I think that I'm going to just kind of ignore it for this purposes of this painting. Not important. I suppose it could be something like really crazy, like a gun or something, I don't know, but we're just gonna not worry about it for this one. You want to try to get a couple of oil pieces into your graphic novel. Oh, I love that. At the moment, it's working on the characters of your town. Very cool. Love that. Yeah, forlorn is a good way to describe the picture too, I think. It's kind of... yeah, there's something like sad and thoughtful, but it's like weird and off-putting at the same time, which is very interesting to me. Oil paint on paper makes me think about bacon on a paper towel. How's that going to work? It should work okay because this is actually a, where's the cover? This is actually a mixed media sketchbook. So the surfaces are vellum And in theory, it should work okay. No, it definitely not edible. I wouldn't try that. I mean, teach their own, but I wouldn't. It is, I've not worked with oil and vellum before on the, like a surface like this. This is like a vellum that's on, that's very thick. Like they're very thick pages. I thought about putting gesso down first, like gessoing the page. But then I like, let's just see what happens. The agent of chaos that I am. This could go badly. Let's see what happens. Story of my life. Do you paint on both sides of a page, leave for mixed media? I have. Like, this was the back of a page that I did last time, and this is with gouache. Front side was ink. Back side to here with ink. So, yeah, I have. The paper will, like, get a little bit ripply. It has thus far, but it hasn't been too bad. Okay. Let's see. Let's try to get this drawing in place so we can get onto the fun stuff. Fun, and I mean scary when I say fun. And I added at the very last minute the text below me. I did that at the last minute. So it's very just ugly Helvetica with, you know, bad everything. But I just thought I'd throw that there, so if anybody's joining as we're going along and wants to get involved, then you know right away what's happening. Where to find it if you want it. Yeah, I'll get some. I tried to change the font and it didn't like it, so I'll get a better design on there before the next stream. Or something. Maybe. That is not quite right. Okay. Adjustment time. Okay. Can I make my picture any bigger? A little bit. All right, here we go. Maybe. I don't know why this is being a problem. Like losing my place. Don't you shame Helvetica. Helvetica is fine. It's just, it needs, like, the line needs some space. It has its place. It just needs, it needs more to make it okay. Yes, creepy ass oil painting of a rabbit is exactly what we're going with. Your sketchbook looks like, I can read. Looks like Da Vinci's if Leonardo had been psychotic. Well, I like that, and maybe he was. I recently read a quote by him, something about like a memory of being an infant, and it's like some weird, like, Freudian goofiness. I don't know. Very odd. So he was an odd one. There's no doubt about that. To paint the zipper or not to paint the zipper? What I mean is no color. That's okay. I don't think, did he use color in his journals and books? I don't know that he did either. I've heard there is a technique for making a picture bigger. It involves moving your head closer to the image. Yeah. But then I'm going to smash my face into the microphone and break everything. Or I do it on the computer screen and I keep like looking away and stretching away from everything and it's weird too. I don't know. Anyway. Yes. Okay, let's get this. All right, we're so close. Yeah, I have sketchbooks that I use for so many different things. A lot of them just end up being idea dumps or just like working out ideas. And they're just messy and full of some things that seem intelligent and a lot of things that definitely don't. Some things worth holding on to for another date, a lot of things not. And then I have books that I do like certain types of work in or certain types of study as well. So yeah, some of them are just pencil, some are ink. This one has become my also paint and sketchbook, which I've never really done before, but I kind of enjoy it because it feels very unimportant in a way where it's not precious. And that's something that helps me. I don't like to get too precious about things. It's got just the skinniest little shadow going off the page. And we have the sun, all the shadows cast from it, creating this weird little block of light from that fence. It's like a courtyard or something. Everyone trying to analyze Leo missed him by 500 years. Yeah, the bird's tail and the mouse, yes. Freudian foolishness. I got, hey, that's a good alliteration, actually. I didn't even mean to do that. Heads up, I seem to be on a dry wit run today. Never take my comments, jokes personally. Silver point on paper is what he used. Ah. If my medium were a semi-precious metal, I'd draw more carefully too. Well, yes, that's true. I'm sure it costs a lot more than a number 2 pencil these days. And I have, at some point in my life, I bought a whole lot of, like a bulk amount of mechanical pencils. And I still have so many of them left. So many. And I still grab them and use them. They're nice to travel with. That is one thing that I will give them. Okay. For now, I think I'm going to ignore that little bit of a tree over here. But I don't know, I guess I can kind of block in where it is in case I decide to put it in. Not too worried about it. And there is kind of a top to the fence that you can see a little bit, if that matters. Maybe, maybe not matters. Okay, so I have a glass palette over here for my oil paints. I did a real quick cleanup on it beforehand, so it's not perfect, but good enough for today. I'll try to keep more things over here. Rabbit looks red. Awesome, thank you. Never take anything personally. Life is easier that way. That's a good way to go. It is very true. Okay, is it actually cool enough to currently drink? Yes, it will do. It tastes like nothing today. I don't know why. Didn't put in enough matcha. Maybe. Apparently, I was looking up matcha tea. If you don't specifically buy organic, they say to like limit your intake every day because of pesticides. That was interesting to learn about. I guess I've heard that with tea in general before. Haven't thought about it much because I don't drink tea a ton. You have like the mechanical pencils. Lead widths from 0.3 to 5.6 millimeters, 6H to 8B. Wow. All of mine are just the cheapo, I don't know, like these guys, the Bics, number 2s, 0.5. I think they're all pretty much the same thing. I just bought a big box of them 100 years ago, and I'm still not quite halfway through it. All right, where are we? Okay, let's start building a palette. I have a couple little... Get these over if I can. These little pans. Oh, look, there's a cat hair in one. Oh, there's cat hairs in both of them. No. All right, yes. Two little mini guys I have here that I can put a little bit of Gamsol oil in. I have... This is your odorless mineral spirit, so to speak. So it helps to thin. So just gonna put a little bit. I don't think I'm gonna need it much. Oop, probably more than I needed. It's fine, still fine. And then I have, I'm not gonna use stand oil, but I do have fast drying medium, which has oil in it. And this works. It has a similar consistency to mixing with the oil. It's not quite as heavy, but it's actually oil with some kind of either mineral spirit or terpenoid type of a thing, if I can open it. Pencil fiend. That is not a bad way to be. Okay, let me see if I can open this. Come on. Child-safe containers are not my friend. Oh my goodness. No? Come on. All right, I'm gonna stand up and get some proper. There, maybe. Aha, got it. Just need a little more lever system working for me. Maybe. No? What are you doing, container? I don't think that worked. All right, try it again. Mechanical pencils and me are useless. I need the more natural tactile sense of the general pencil, especially since I now carve them down to expose lead. Every time I've ever done that, and from time to time, it's the only way to sharpen a particular pencil. I cannot get this thing open. What is happening? Come on. Oiled by a little lid. It's terrible. Most of the time, if I do the really long, like when you try to carve it so it's like super long and skinny, I just break it immediately. Man, where's my muscles when I need them? Come on. I can open this. I believe in myself. I can open this little bottle. Sure. Did I do it? Oh, yes. Believe in yourself, folks. All right, wee bit of not stand oil, wee bit of fast drying medium. It's Winsor & Newton. I think this is like one of the first things I bought. This and some like terpenoid. And then eventually I got some regular stand oil, which I'm not using today because I don't want this to take forever to dry. And what was the thing? What else am I doing? Paint? Yes. Okay. So I know I will need some... Wait. Container. And what are we gonna do here? Definitely feeling some kind of dioxine purple. Probably saying that wrong. Quinacridone red to make the bunny suit color. I got some warms in here. I need some yellow. Cadmium for yellow. These all have the lids I hate. Did I ever buy Payne's Gray? I probably didn't. I need to add that to my list. I guess maybe some raw umber. I wish I had my Payne's Gray. I'm gonna put just a tiny bit of cerulean blue on there. Feeling feisty. Okay. Here we go. These are my colors. Ooh, did I miss? That took me way too long. Silver point is literally a sharp silver nib that leaves gray marks on paper. Well-stocked art supply store that still sells silver points. Ooh, brass, copper, and a few other metals. That's cool. I've never looked into that. That's really cool. What is F lead? Where does it sit on the ladder? And what do you personally find the most erasable lead? I'm finding it difficult to find one that erases well. Does the eraser depend on the canvas paper? Yeah, I think it does. The smoother your paper, often the easier it is to erase. The more texture your paper has, or the softer your paper is, then it can be hard to lift without lifting some of the paper itself. Kneaded erasers are pretty good. They can be, or the white erasers do all right too. I'm not a big fan of, like, I wouldn't use a pink eraser. Those tend to just leave a lot of gunk in their trail. So yeah, F is like right in the middle. Right? Am I thinking correctly? Yeah, I don't know what all the letters stand for. You've got, when it comes to going from 2B being our typical kind of on the softer side, B, HB, F, H, and then you get into H, 2H, 3H, 4H. So HB is kind of like the one that would be like right in the center, wouldn't it? Like you're very middle of the middle, not really hard, not soft, and then you got your ranges above and below that, or F might be it. They're right in there. Yeah, the softer the pencil, on a smooth surface, probably the easier it'll erase, whereas on something toothsome, it's a little harder to pick up. And yeah, a soft eraser like a kneaded eraser that can get into the textures and not tear the paper too much. And I just experiment. The harder you draw your line, of course, the harder it is going to be to erase. So a lot of times when I sketch, I initially start with like really, really light lines, because then it's easier to correct after the fact. Also, if you're doing work that's going to be like a graphic novel, black and white, where you might work with ink ultimately, if you work on something like a Bristol board, something really smooth, and then you're going to scan it into your computer, if you go, you can, there's some tricks to make that work for you, where when you scan it in, if your black ink is there and you still have some pencil lines, you can adjust your levels and your curves to kind of make that vanish out. You can also use a blue pencil. Actually, I have one here. Non-photo blue. You could use one of those if you're going to be scanning it in. That is an option as well. All right. Anyway, let's put some paint down. I'm often a little like anxious about starting. It's the worst thing. I try not to be that way. But that's a nice thing about doing a project like this during a live stream, is that, you know, if you're here, you're gonna do it. Yeah, so yeah, give me a topic to talk about to keep me from digging in, and I'm gonna take it and run with it because it's scary, man. I don't know, because I don't know what I'm doing. Not with this particular medium. Anyway. F for fine, because I know H is hard and B is black. But F eludes me, and I Googled with not much help. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's a specific like term that it stands for or what, but it's just kind of in there in the middle. So neutral with a F? I don't I don't know. Once I scan it and I know how to do all the Photoshop tricks, I'm trying to learn to make it as clean as possible before I get to that point. Oh yeah, absolutely. Understand that. It is a trick. And then I've had people ask me, because I used to do a lot more ink work, about getting the line to not bleed, where even on a Bristol board, if you use a fine point and draw a line, then it can, like if you get really close to it, you can see how it bleeds out a little bit. And if you wanted it to be the crispest line ever, I just, for myself personally, I didn't fuss around with that. I didn't care. F stands for firm. Holy crap, mind blown. Thank you for that information. Yeah. Letting go of perfection. You're gonna draw it bigger, then you're gonna scan it in the end, and you lose all that stuff anyway. Horror flick that I've seen. Yes, you know how to. Oh, you know, right? You know me. That's probably more yellow than I needed. I did watch. It's not a new movie from like early 2000s or 2008 or something. Mirrors with Kiefer Sutherland, and it was not very good. I mean, it was okay. It had a decent production value and whatnot, but like, why? What was the point? I don't know. Didn't feel like it had anything to say, or if it did, it was so dumb that I didn't know or care. B for black, H for hard. Love it. Learning things today. Love it. Love it, love it. I watched IGN last night. They're going through top 100 flicks. I watched their review of Independence Day in its glory. IGN. I know what IGN is and I can't think of it. I don't remember. I don't remember things most of the time. I don't know. Anyway, yes. What am I doing? Let's start with the sky, maybe. No, let's start with the dark color. I would like to kind of have my blacks in place, maybe, to work up from. I don't know if it's the angle I set my screen at, because I have a little, what would you call it? What is it called? An iPad. God. Words. Anyway, yes, I use an iPad in front of me here so that I can keep an eye on the stream, see the chat, and I'm also looking at my image there. And I'm finding that I don't think the color representation that comes across from it is all that great. So that's kind of an interesting thing that I've learned. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It might just be the angle and the lighting in my room. Okay, we're gonna just start laying down some color and see. Well, we're seeing how it does on this paper, as well as seeing how it does, how all I do with it. Okay, I need to mix a lot more of my color. I get so careful when I shouldn't necessarily. I really just shouldn't, period. I'm just too, I don't know. It's like I'm afraid I'm going to do something wrong, I guess. I don't know. And my edges are going to be behind, especially behind the bunny, but my edges in general are a little bit soft on this. It's the way the lighting is. I'm going to do some weird angles here because where the mic and everything are. Is the person in the dirty bunny suit on a raft? Is this from a movie? He seems to be standing in some kind of a courtyard that has like maybe cement or stone tile on it. And this picture is not from a movie. It kind of looks a little cinematic, but it's from Gratisography, which is a site, a photography site where they make kind of stranger free reference photos. And I just came across it last week, and I think it's great. It's not the Donnie Bunny, no. I mentioned that earlier, that it kind of reminds me quite a bit of like the Donnie Darko shindig, but yeah, it's not actually that. Speaking of, I haven't seen that movie in a really long time. I don't know if courageous with my art is the right way to put it. I just... because I have a lot of... I do actually, in fact, have a lot of, like, fear and anxiety about starting things, and that perfectionism, all that gets me, but I just reach a point where it's like, oh well, let's go and see what happens. Letting go of that pride, I guess, to do it in a way that is like just, well, for one, quite public. And yeah, it's just, I try to look at it, especially in this context, as a bit of playing, so then it really doesn't matter. I'm just playing and learning and experimenting. Something turns out great, woohoo, win. If it doesn't, what did I learn from it? What would I do differently next time? Did I hopefully at least have some fun messing around with it? You know, that kind of thing. But it is a constant reminder to self to think of that way, to think of it that way, and just practice being that way, I guess. Okay. Anyway, let's continue. I'm going to mix up. That was probably too much weight. Some of the lighter color to be the highlighted area of the ground. It's too greenish. For my brain, finding very thin Venn diagram of play and pressure to which it both needs and both has crazy reactions to is hard. Yeah, that's true. It can depend a lot on the type of project it is. Like, what's the purpose of it? And does it matter if it really doesn't work out? Like, there's a lot more pressure if there's a time component or somebody's like paying you to do a job, of course. Then there is a lot of pressure to get it done and have it be good, for sure. But if it's the purpose is to learn, then just dive in. And yeah, always, I think when it comes to art, it can be an absolutely miserable thing, but it doesn't ever have to be. I think that's tricky, and I think I could, like, make a whole video just talking about that sort of topic. Live my life in the center of several Venn diagrams. Yeah. I get it, I do. For now, it's okay. There's plenty of days when it's the best you can do to just get through the day. So, which is all fine. And then we ascend to become the Venn diagram. Yes. Oh no. The terrible irony of existence. The purpose is always no purpose. I mean, when you really zoom out and think about it on that level, there is nothing, only one. The truth, nothing matters. Nothing matters. One day we will all be dead. One day the Earth might die from a heat death in billions of years. Nothing will matter, so let's just, you know, do the things we want to do. The Zen of Venn. Who says an art stream can't solve the mysteries of the universe? All hail. Alright, try to get some of my little darker color, kind of blend some of these edges a little bit, maybe. And then I'll need to go back in and add some more highlight tone there too, I think. probably could have painted my, or taped my edges and had some nice clean lines, but why would we do that? Okay. Alright, maybe the sky next for now. Will that... We'll let that stay there for the moment and... Yeah, you know. It's a good start to work from. We'll just start laying down some basic layers and then I can do some refining. Try to clean my brush a little bit. I got one of these silicoil guys with some terpenoid in there to kind of clean up my brushes a bit. Here's a trick. If is there a way to send an image on chat? I don't know. No, that's like me with the Jurassic World rewrite. Who says we can't solve the mysteries of the universe? Watch me. No, put none of it into practice. Well, I mean, that's the real truth of all of us. I don't know if we can send an image on chat. That is a good question. I don't know if you can... I don't know if it lets you point to a link or not either. I'm not sure. Alright, that's probably fine for now. When you're cleaning oil brushes, you can give them a bit of a spray with the Dawn Power Wash. It's like that foam cleaner for your dishes, for that stuck-on grease. I saw it on TikTok, actually, where somebody did that, and I thought it was kind of genius. So, yeah. All right. I'm going to start putting some layers on the sky here. Perhaps. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to start with approximately my darker color. Which is a bit of a gray tone. Whoa, too green. Too green. Too far. Still too green. Why do I keep mixing my colors? Very green today. Just in the state of mind, I guess. No, too red. See, now I'm doing the bowl in the China shop thing. How's that? That actually might work. Might be a little... Oh, yeah. I need to lighten it a wee bit. Okay. Now, ink doesn't work either. Yeah, I really don't know. Is it weird of me to admit that I don't have a lot of chat expertise or experience? Well, I think one thing that's interesting is thus far, if I turn the back page over, you can see a little bleed through, just very faintly, of like the oil on the back of the page. Not quite bleeding through, but it looks like it's trying to. But thus far, it's doing okay. And I got paint everywhere. I shoved my finger in it somehow or another. Anyway. Continuing on. I will need lighter. And one spot with a little bit of yellowish color in it. That was too much. Maybe. I'm using a round brush and I'm kind of just scrubbing the page with it to get some floofier textures in there. Bull in a china shop was what? Myth busted? How do you myth bust that? A bull won't break things if it's in a china shop? Oh, Lynell X. I love that. I love that term. It's a quiet day. Sometimes Mondays can be very quiet days around here, but then sometimes so are Thursdays. I guess it just depends on the week, what's going on in the world, all that jazz. Why do I keep needing to put my finger into the paint? I keep forgetting what I'm working with. It is not as effective of a thing to do when you're working with oil paints. That's for sure. Yeah, Mythbusters let a bull loose around tight china shop to set up. Didn't touch a thing. Well, he wasn't me as a bull, that's for sure, because I would break everything. I would break everything, just me, period. I am not a graceful person. Alright, let's keep moving this bus along. I'm fascinated by that. Who would have thought to try to myth bust a bull in a china shop? Like, who even came up with the idea to do that? I am fascinated. What a weird thing. I think the main thing I remember from that show is when they did something about like having a toothbrush in a bathroom and then flushing the toilet and how far particles travel, and I will never keep a toothbrush not in a covered place in a bathroom ever again in my life. It was absolutely disgusting. Thank you, Mythbusters, for traumatizing me. Although it's probably a good thing, because, yeah, it's gross. Best off to try not to do that. Must have been a small bowl. I once saw a large-hipped woman take out a whole display of glassware. I would do that just by turning around someplace, and complete lack of spatial spatial awareness. I mean, you guys see me on stream. I drop things constantly. Knock things over, shove my hand in something. It just... yeah. I get thinking about something or talking about something and, you know, God help everything in my way. Sort of working my way to my lighter colors is what I'm doing here. Unless provoked, bulls are actually very intentional creatures that won't go to you if you don't move. Lots of interesting examples on YouTube. I got chased by a bull once when I was a kid. That was quite frightening. I should preface that by saying that it was my grandparents had a dairy farm. And me and my sister, when we were there, we would often like to go out and play in the pasture. Luckily, I was very near the fence, the gate to the pasture when I saw that guy come trotting up on me, and I got close enough to the gate and as fast as I could that he just lost interest. Yeah. That was a moment. That was a moment. Zero spatial awareness, same. The other day I got onto a ladder like a pro to put up some curtains. The moment I was back on the ground, I almost tripped myself. Legend. Oh yeah, that sounds a lot like me. Dropping things, losing things, forgetting things. That's what I do. My proprioception, am I saying that right? Is good, unless someone is looking. Yeah. That is absolutely a thing too. That seems to make a lot of difference. For a period of time I was actually going to a gym to work out, and I did the thing where like the treadmill's moving and you step wrong and you almost go flying off the back right into a person who was standing over there. That was pretty great. And it was because I almost dropped my phone or iPod or something that I was listening to. I think that dropped, and then that threw me off completely, because I like kind of try to go grab it when should not, and you know, in my mind, oh, grab the thing, but stop moving my legs, and then everything goes fine. And the person caught it, and they handed it to me and looked at me like I was from another planet, and it was wonderful. Alright, start getting some of this blending a little bit. I'm going to get another brush here, another nice round one that's not too sharp of a point. I'm so sorry, I'm laughing so hard at the treadmill thing. I so relate, Nardia. Proprioception is one's sense of one's body in space. That makes sense, given the context of what we're talking about. Yeah, I'm terrible at that. oh, I have a body? I forgot. That is more likely to be my situation. Body-mind connection is not my strong suit. It is something I'm supposed to be working on getting better at. I tell you how few times in my life I've ever really attempted to paint clouds. It is truly very few. I've just mostly never been that interested in painting landscapes for whatever reason. Which is kind of why I wanted to try doing some of that now. I'm trying to go and fill in the gaps of the things that I just never paid attention to or cared about that much. So challenging myself to learn something. Try something new. See what happens. What's the worst that could happen? I watched an amazing video the other day on a woman explaining her experience of autism. The ground feels weird to walk on, and I trip. But if I dance, I move freely. I love to dance, it's bizarre. I like that. It's like paying attention too much throws you off. But if you're doing something just out of joy and letting go of things, then the body just does what the body does, maybe. Clouds are suspiciously hard, especially in perspective. I forget at the distance you're seeing the front of the clouds versus above, where you're seeing the bottom. Yeah, there's definitely a lot goes on in clouds. And the way the light can hit them. I definitely need to go back in here and add some warmth where the sun is affecting them. Sort of just filling in areas at the moment. My sister, who flies airplanes, can she'll look at clouds and be like, oh, this is what that is, and that's why this is happening, and that's what it means, and man, I'll never remember that stuff, but it's cool. I love that she knows it and can tell me the things when I'm around her. But that's her job, too, to know those things. So, all respect to her and all that stuff. I get some of my really light, warm tones in there again. Congratudolences? I love that word. Okay. Oh, see what I tell you. Where'd he go? This is what we do. Okay, and I keep putting the lid back on this because this is terpenoid, and even though it's like a low scented thing, like there's not a ton of scent, there is still some of that, and I don't have the window open because it's hot. Oh, look, and I got oil paint on my desk because this is how we roll. All right, let's do some things. I get the tiniest touch of a color. That's what I'm looking for. Probably didn't mix enough, but that's what I'm looking for. Just lay some of that in here. Did not mix enough. One thing is, because I'm working small and I'm working in this little sketchbook, like I'm not laying in thick layers of paint that have that really wonderful way to work back into them. I'm being a little stingy and cautious with my colors, which I don't think is doing much for it, but all right, let's mix a little extra here. What's to lose? Perfect thing to say to expecting parents. I've had that reaction, and this is probably terrible, but based on life experiences, to when people are getting married. Somebody comes into like a room with lots of people and shares that news. Oh, I'm engaged to a guy I've known for a year. I can't wait to have a wedding. Just like, congratulations. Yeah. Terrible. All right. My clouds are a massive mess. It's okay though. I'm kind of just been like focused on trying to capture the colors, which are interesting and a little elusive. There's a tiny sliver of moon in the west. I always love that. There's a giant tree outside my window, so I often cannot see the moon if it's in the east, and all my windows face east. So these days, haven't seen much of the moon. Not too much, anyway. Alright, I need more white paint. I'm not quite capturing what I would like there. I'm not quite capturing the luminosity. I like what you did with the sky. It's very, atmospheric. It's a mess. That's what it is. A bigger brush on a bigger canvas with more paint would definitely help. But part of it is just me just kind of messing around with it because I don't do it much. I don't paint skies very often. I would like to try to do these things, so, you know, just give it a shot. You forgot to eat today. Oh no. You better eat something. It's getting late. I do that. I can do that. I understand how it can happen. One thing that helps me right now is having a cat who knows his food schedule very well, because he does not let me forget to feed him. And when I feed him, I might as well feed myself. So that's the thing that's helped me the most in that way. I have a very hungry cat that's used to 3 meals a day at very specific times. Sky is often a mess. That's what makes it interesting. Being the Ven requires eating participation. Indeed. Can't let the almighty Ven down. I don't know if it's good or bad. I feel like I could spend an entire session just painting clouds and like trying to see what I can get out of them. The secret of Zen. When hungry, eat. When tired, rest. I like that very much. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I find clouds especially beautiful. I love to look at them. Looking at them is a lot easier than painting them. There we go. Maybe. This whole painting is just one catastrophic mess. I just had a very close urge to put my paintbrush into my tea, and here's what's frightening about that. Look how similar these colors are. Dangerous. Very, very dangerous. I have done that before. Not with oil paints, though. And I've also nearly drank my paint water, of course. I think I actually have, or if I did, I blocked it out of, like, sheer embarrassment. Oh yeah, amazing how many colors are in a gray sky. Absolutely. You have so many atmospheric things happening and the light because of those insanely, often very large shapes of them. Okay, let me see if I can smooth anything out a little bit. Perhaps. And then maybe we can move on to Mr. Bonnie Man. Making a fresh cuppa. Anyone need one? Yes, maybe you have a better green tea than I have. I need to put it on my shopping list to get a new, better one. This has got to be so old. Like, embarrassingly old. But I did look and it did not have an expiration date on it, so... In other matters, if I ever used a brush that long, I'd put my thing out. I don't know if it's like a general rule or something, but it seems that for a lot of your opaque mediums, acrylic and oil, generally when you're looking at the brushes, they're often the long-handled brushes, and often the short-handled brushes you'll see mostly for like transparent mediums, like watercolor, and I don't know that there's like a particular, this is just what I've seen, but I don't honestly know the specific reasoning for it. I just never thought to look into it. I think it might have to do with scale, because often when you're working with an oil paint, you're probably working on an easel, and you can stand back a little decent, and you can hold your brush further back a bit, and that allows you to get nice big loose strokes. You can move your arm freely, whereas you're not generally going to need to or want to do that with watercolor medium. Most often, everybody has their different approaches and the ways that they do the things, so none of these are hard and fast rules, and you can use whatever brushes you want for anything, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, it is an interesting thing. But it does help me just keep things organized too, that I have my one cup of all my really long-handled brushes that are for my acrylic and oil paintings, and another cup of my short-handled brushes, generally, for when I'm doing watercolor. And then I don't, hopefully, not that I've invested in a lot of very fancy brushes at this state. For me, I guess, yeah. But, yeah, just keep them nice. And, once you have oil in your brushes, they probably won't work as well for holding water. It's hard to get out completely. And so on. I don't know. I could just be making things up and talking out of my butt. Use watercolor brushes for everything, except oral hygiene. Like I said, whatever works. Whatever works for you, that's the thing to do. That's what matters. And I've covered up like half of his head. But it's fine. Is it a little less of a headache yet to look at? What I'm doing is just picking up a little bit of a Gamsol and going like very lightly and going back in and just sort of like fussing my edges to soften them a little bit and smooth them a little bit. So that's what I'm doing. If anybody was wondering what my thought process was here. Paper is moving a whole lot, which is annoying. I definitely recommend having a dedicated oil paint rags. I used to use Kolinsky Sable for ink. The Faulinsky are just as good and don't require mortgaging the house. Yeah, I think I have one Kolinsky brush. And it wasn't like an insanely expensive one. I think I got a number 6. Well, I mean, it all depends on your point of view, I guess. I think I spent about 20 bucks on it. So for me, that is a splurge for one brush, for sure. But I know they go much more expensive than that. Yeah, it's all just... Most of my brushes are not expensive, and especially when it comes to some of my oil brushes, like I have some really cheap hog hair brushes. Like super cheap. And they're fine. They're totally fine. All right, so brush, that won't work. Okay, let me do what? I really want to get the luminosity, but I don't know if I'm gonna get there. Okay, anyway, time is passing here. Holy crap. Anyway, let's get going. Let me do some other things. That's too light. Trying to get the one light to look right maybe a matter of getting everything else to look about right. Or closer to right. I'm getting a little better at not smashing my brush constantly into the microphone. It is a skill, we'll say. Maybe you're missing out on the using your brush as a toothbrush. Binder clips. Get binder clips. Moving paper is the worst. Yeah, I do have some. Actually, I have some right within reach of myself, but why make things easier on ourselves at this point? We've gotten so far. Which was the wrong response, by the way. In case anyone wondered. Also, I think what might help too getting my highlights here a little bit better. Might actually just move the microphone for this one. Oh yeah, well I got my first set of brushes and stuff off Amazon, and they're for acrylic and oil, and I even got it in canvas wrap, so pardon parades around as if she totally fits in with you guys. I have a canvas wrap brush holder. Oh, and then I was just talking about how good I've been with my not hitting the mic. Then I did it. And anything else, though, I mean, to be honest, it just comes, like, the only reason I have a crap ton of brushes is just because I've been doing this forever. A lot of my brushes I still have from when I was in college. Heck, probably a few of them are from high school. At least some have had to have been thrown away at different points in time because, well, I'm a terrible brush mother. I'm an embarrassment. In many ways, like that, when it comes to how I keep my brushes. But definitely doesn't matter, and only matters if you want it to matter. If you decide that it's gonna make a difference to your work to have a certain type of brush or not, maybe, maybe not. But the last thing anybody should do is let having maybe or maybe not the right things stop them from doing. That is something I never like to hear. Okay, finally feeling sort of satisfied with sort of something that's happening there, maybe. Maybe. All right, after an hour and a half, maybe we can finally get to the bunny man. It's okay. It looks like a study painting so far. But they're just not good. Yeah, I mean, and what I'm trying to achieve in a period of time, there's just not going to be that to it. And I'm just trying to learn a thing. But I guess I don't hate it. That's a good thing, right? Okay. What am I doing? Ah, okay. Cover my thing so I'm not getting high on paint fumes. Probably got paint on my glasses just now. Okay. Bunny man. Let's start. I'll start laying in the highlights actually. I'm just gonna block some things in like that. And that's probably people would say is the wrong thing to do. Which is what I'm doing. I care not for anybody's rules. Truth be told, it's not the worst thing to follow a person's like rules of something when you're starting, just as like a basis to work off of. Not the worst thing. Not that I do that. I pick up a thing here or there. One problem is I don't remember stuff very well, so sometimes it's just like I learn best by doing, by like making mistakes, by seeing what happens. That's when I'm most likely to remember something. Seeing is the second best thing. I'm also a bit of a visual learning, but doing and experiencing it firsthand is always my best bet. Okay, well I painted his tail in for some reason. It's all done, right? All done. All right, let me take a crack at this dirty, grungy suit that he's wearing. Be close. It's kind of a mid-tone. Maybe. I bought this little clip-on container for like oil, Gamsol down here in the corner at the art supply store, and I was very disappointed that there was no option for lids with it. It was also very cheap, so maybe that's why, but yeah, I really wish that it had lids so that I could just, you know, fill it up the one time and have it ready to go and save it without having to worry about wasting it. Art supplies is one of those things that I really hate to waste because, well, I need them. They're expensive to replace often if you don't have, if you know, are wasteful with them. It's the last thing you want to have to worry about. Nope. Not what I was thinking of. Anyway, sorry. Thinking out loud randomly. Which is one of the reasons I got a cat, so that I can think out loud and pretend like I'm actually talking to somebody. So I'm not crazy. Alright. Nope, that needs to be darker. Even though I most definitely like don't really know what I'm doing, but I do gotta admit I really love the feel of oils. And especially when I'm working at a larger scale and not being stingy with my mediums because of my material, what I'm working on, but it just feels so nice to mix it and to paint it on. And that was something that really, I think, surprised me coming from working with acrylics forever. I didn't realize how different it would be to work with it. There was definitely a lot of fear that kept me from trying, too. Excuses for, oh, it's probably not for me. Oh, I don't have good ventilation. Oh, this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, totally worth it. Try a new thing. Who'd have known? Oh gosh, I missed, my thing wasn't scrolling. Mike sounds right as rain today. That's awesome. Thank you. I had noticed in the last stream after you pointed out that it was goofy when I was going back and forth by my computer, my mic source had switched. It had in fact switched. So thank you for pointing that out to me. I was able to fix that. What should one eat for breakfast at 8:30 p.m.? Eggs on toast is a good one. Cake? Oh, I mean, yeah, cake. Brush parenting, yeah, I guess I did say that. I tend to say things without giving it a ton of thought. It's just where my brain goes. It made sense at the moment. I don't know why I'm holding my arm like that. Oh my gosh. Watching you paint a bunny and eating carrot cake? How? You don't get any more appropriate than that. I love the word unctuous. That is a great word, and I like the way that to describe painting with oils. Feels very appropriate. Viscous. I only ever use that word in like when I'm talking about things that I can't handle. There is a type of viscosity that I absolutely can't deal with for some reason. And that's like almost the only time I ever refer to that word. So I have, I think, just a not great association maybe. Which is my own fault. It is on me. Unctuous is oily in a good way. Heck yeah. Like cream cheese ice frosting. I learned it when I did my personal training certifications like 10 plus years ago. The viscosity of the fluid between the joints thins out as you warm up. Oh. When I was a kid, I would complain about stomach aches a lot. I think it was like a nervous stomach thing. I think it was like the beginning of some anxiety stuff for me. But I got treated with taking... One of the things that I did to try to help with that was that I would take mineral oil sometimes. And the memory of... Just the memory of that can make me gag. And that was like a viscosity thing. It was just like oil. But I just can't. Just can't handle it. Anything that reminds me of that is just not something I can quite deal with. Ugh. Gag reflex is strong when it comes to that. I want cream cheese frosting. So suggestible. I'm just the worst. This is maybe the good thing about just simply not having the things when it comes up. Maybe. 'Cause I'm constantly like, ooh, pancakes. I want pancakes. I probably could make them. Probably not going to. Probably don't need to after I've already had dinner. Just that kind of thing. I don't know. I think I'm might be starting to be a little... It might be, maybe it's the caffeine. I did go to bed too late last night, that's one thing. Just like that little bit of kind of almost loopiness going on. Man, this looks terrible so far. Anyway. Sorry, it's really yummy though. How dare. I do tend to always have some, what I have in the house for things like that. Usually chocolate, like dark chocolate. Most of it from Christmases. Current to past, whatever. Because people will, you know, give you maybe some nice chocolate or something, and I will possibly put them in a cabinet where I forget they exist for ever and ever, until I randomly have a craving for something sweet. I'm not a big, I truthfully, I'm not the biggest sweets person, but you know what does it? Spicy food. When I eat something spicy, then it's like, darn it, I need to follow that up with something sweet and balance it all out. That does it for me. for wanting sweets. And then I can go and eat the 1 square of chocolate from a bar that says that your serving size is like 9 squares. And still feel gross for it. Sugar doesn't always agree with me. My body likes to throw any reason at all to give me a migraine all the time. Don't forget chocolate exists, and this is where we depart, like Moses and the sea. I know a lot of people, they find it odd. I know my family, for the most part, always joked that that was the sign that I was like adopted because I didn't have a sweet tooth. Nothing you're doing looks awful. It's really enchanting. Oh, thank you. Usually I feel like I can kind of get it there if I keep looking at what I'm actually seeing and what I'm actually doing and keep working it. And right now I have RuPaul in my head. You better work. Alright, I for sure will need to do some blending. There's a lot of texture in his suit. So the lines can't be too neat or too clean. Like it's the combination of it being furry and it being very dirty. Let's see here. How we doing? Kinda okay. A little bit. I think I need to get a cleaner brush. Oh yeah, agreement with Samantha. Your work is great. Ah, you guys are so sweet. Chocolate after pasta. That's the best. I could see that. For me, it's like after Indian food. After I've been subjected to multiple serrano peppers, then I want some chocolate, like a little bite of chocolate, to like even it all out. How's the light dome? Oh my goodness. I keep meaning to set aside the time to do it and record it, and I haven't done it yet. And it's on my to-do list it was on my to-do list for last week. It is still on my to-do list for this week. So, fingers crossed. that it happens. Things fall off all the time. It's just the worst. But I think that's a man in a bunny suit. I thought it was a woman in the bunny suit. I wonder why. Do you think it's because of the color? Maybe? Some, like, psychological jumps our brain makes, maybe? I don't know. What do we think? I don't know. Shoulders are semi-broad, but it's hard to tell in the giant suits. Kind of long arms, but they could just be hanging. It's really hard to tell with the amount of information we have. It could go either way. Could be either. All right, we are trying to add in some texture with my very disgustingly kept cheapo hog hair brush. But you know what? Even when the brushes become gross like this and all like not a nice round brush anymore, there are purposes that they serve, just like this. When you just need that right texture, sometimes still manages to be the right tool for the job. So even some of my destroyed brushes remain around for such purposes. Okay, that's helping a lot. Just kind of soften those harsh highlights, as well as adding some of that texture in there. Now the hips maybe. Yeah, it's hard to tell because I think those suits kind of are meant to float out at the like low point of the hips to give them that like cartoony shape. I may have spent a little too much time not so far away from some mascots. I don't know. The only thing that indicates to me as a woman is that butt crease on the right side of the tail. It makes the back tail protrude in a way that initially appears to me like the butt is pushed out. But to me, the overall stature, aside from the crease, to me says male. Probably 100% wrong. There's really no way to tell. That's the thing. Like, who knows? Who knows? Place your bets. It was Watson the whole time. Hi, little baby cat. Need some attention. Just came to say hi. It's getting close to dinner time, supper time. He knows his food schedule. I'm telling you, cat can read clocks. Well, hello. Aren't you sweet? What's up? You coming to see what I'm doing? Yeah? That's my good boy. I still feel like I did not achieve the luminosity in the sky that I was hoping to get. Didn't quite get there with that. What? I'm not mad. I think I'm mostly okay with how it turned out and how this is turning out in the end. I think. Man, there is something just satisfying about laying down color and oil paint. I have brushes that are hook-shaped and have lost half the hair. They're still usable. The hook shape is what gets me. That's what that's the thing that I hate the most, and I definitely have some here still like that, and that would usually happen from, at least in my case, leaving them in the cup of water and forgetting to take them out and clean them at the end of a session, leaving them sit too long. Like this brush should be a flat brush that is flat, but it's all like splayed out at the end. So yeah, this is what it looks like when you're looking at the flat side, which doesn't look so wrong. But then when I turn it to the narrow side, and you can see like how much it splays out. Still good for textures and things. I've definitely had some, I have some of my watercolor brushes I think have some of the worst, I've done the worst with. And some of them, there's one where just at the very tip, it hooks out a little bit. It makes me so mad. And I can only be mad at myself, because it is my fault. Can't find it right now, but anyway. You know, it's those things. There was a corona across Bunny from being backlit, and you captured that beautifully. Well, thank you. That was what I was hoping that with painting in the bunny against the light, that would start to capture the effect of the light. And it does help. Still... Still not super happy with the colors, I think. Just the overall temperature of the colors isn't quite there. Didn't quite nail it. I don't hate it, like I said. Definitely a good learning project. I could certainly get in there with a tinier brush and do a lot more detail too. But eh. For the amount of time that I'm already putting into this, I think it's captured most of what I hoped it would. Is it worth it to fuss around with the color anymore? Just really seems to lack the warmth of the photo. So that's probably the thing that I need to work on, is like getting my color temperatures with the oil paint. I'm getting used to like mixing those, working from light to dark or dark to light, and all those kinds of things. So those are the things that I will write, like, lodge in my brain as things to guide my other decisions of things to work on and sketch and play around with. One thing I got growing up was good brush care, because my stepdad is an artist. He taught me big no-nos so I wouldn't destroy his brushes. I mostly just thinking back to like high school art classes where you just go and wash them in the sink, because we only used really acrylic mostly. So you just we're supposed to wash them out after every class, and because all the kids were just doing it, taking turns at a big sink, it was never done all that well. And, you know, less pink, more dirty. Yeah, and there's just so much more like gold. It's like a gold tone in there that I'm completely missing in the whole thing, in the sky, in the ground, in the figure. That seems to be what I've lost. I have to close the chat pane to zoom in on your painting. When I'm zoomed in, I'm very impressed. When I'm zoomed out, still impressed. Oh, thank you. Like, it feels a little closer to right in person than what I see on the screen. And that might be based on what the camera's picking out and the white balance there too, but it's still, even then, not still luminous enough. I'm going to keep saying still over and over again because apparently that's what I'm doing. I thought there was a boo-boo in the painting. Turned out to be the cake chroma on their screen. A delicious boo-boo. Yeah. Well, you know, this was a good experiment of a piece. A fun one to work on. Kind of goofy. And different and interesting. And it could certainly, you know, stand for plenty more time. But it is an interesting challenge to just work on a thing in which you are like, what I get done in 2 hours is what it's going to be. So decisions need to be made kind of quickly. And just work with it. See what you can do. So yeah, different constraints like that can offer very interesting little moments. And like stylistically, if I were making something for my own, I'm not a big into like copying photos in terms of like what I would do. Like I'm not a realist painter for my own work. But it is an interesting thing to play around with, trying to capture things that I wouldn't normally do. And honestly, like the quickest, easiest solution to this would probably be let everything dry and do a bit of a golden glaze on it. Blaming the artist for your cake disasters. More drama, please. I'll take the cake blame as long as I get a piece. Seems fair, right? Your painting has that charm, I feel, when I look at Impressionist paintings. Well, again, thank you. And it is a little bit in the sense that, yeah, you're kind of just using brush strokes to capture it. Yeah. I'm gonna say not bad. I'm pretty happy with it. And Watson's back. Look at him pretending he's all innocent and sweet. He is sweet, but he's definitely not innocent. He's a character. Yeah, good point. Cake blame, the Ven way. I'm gonna develop an entire religion around this after a couple more streams, and I dig it. All right. Okay, so it's been a little over 2 hours. I can't believe that for one little painting, but yeah, all right. I think we're gonna call it for tonight and do something else on Thursday morning, and I don't know what that thing will be yet, as is usually the case, but something hopefully fun and interesting. And I hope to see you guys then, and thank you so much for hanging out and chatting with me while I paint Weird Bunny landscapes. Weird Bunny Man landscapes. That should be the name of the stream. Alright. Yeah. Thanks, guys, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Have a great night, day, whatever. Bye.